We are back for Falcons Friday on Falcons Daily. What's up, everybody? Craig Green, I'm your host, CG. We're back again on this beautiful Friday here in Falcons Nation. Thanks again for getting us over 450 subscribers. We're really close to 500. And again, thanks for tuning in and hitting that subscribe button. And we'll do everything we can in our power to bring you the latest in what's happening in Flowery Branch, in and out of Flowery Branch, and just in the entire stratosphere of the Falcons on a daily basis. So again, you can follow me on social media at Craig G Sports, CRAIG, the letter G and the word sports. You can follow me on all of your social media platforms, pretty much. I'm on TikTok, but I don't use it. So if you follow me there and expect me to give you a follow back, it might take me about a year or so because I don't even have the app on my phone. First topic for today is it's the kicking game. It's special teams. I mean, a lot of times we don't really bring it up. I mean, we did talk about Younghoe Koo yesterday, and he had his career low in percentage, and one thing we did not really talk about and bring up when we were discussing Koo and his kicking percentage was the fact that he did go on injured reserve late in the season last year. And who knows? I mean, again, it could have been another Kirk Cousins type of situation where Koo was feeling some discomfort, some pain, whatever it may have been, leading up to these moments in which he's kicking the ball and missing. Because again, I mean, the Koo we know and love, it was super uncharacteristic for him to be missing kicks at the rate he did. Remember, he missed 3 kicks against New Orleans one game. One of them was blocked. But again, still, the blocks do count as misses when it comes to the NFL statistics. So technically he missed 3. Realistically, he missed 2. But the fact of the matter is that the ball did not go through the uprights for the points that we needed at that time. So what the Falcons are going to do now is they're going to start some competition at kicker between Koo and Lenny Craig, who was their international player, their international designated player. Lenny Craig is a native German from Berlin, where the Falcons will be playing against the Colts. And he's never played an NFL snap in his entire life. He did play in Europe. He played pro football in Europe, of course. In 2023 and 24, he went just under 75%. On his kicks, 19 for 26. When they brought him in to try out, he didn't miss any kicks whatsoever during his tryout, and that's what got him the opportunity in Atlanta. And again, because of the fact that that Lenny Craig is their IPP player, he doesn't really take up a roster spot. So they are going to have competition there. They're going to put the best kicker out there. Of course, advantage Koo, because again, Koo, if he's 100% at full strength, like we've seen, the previous 3-4 years, he's going to be back to his old self, hopefully. Another factor in this too is think about, I mean, Koo is not old, guys. He's 30 years old, but he does make good money for a kicker. And on top of the fact that he's got 2 years left on his current deal, he's got 2025 and 2026. And that's it. Lenny Craig has been signed to a 3-year deal with the Falcons, so he'll be here through 2027, or at least under contract anyway. So the contract situation could also be playing a factor in some of this competition as well. It may not just be from an X's and O's standpoint of trying to get the best person out there. This could be also an outlier for what could be coming. I mean, perhaps, who knows? Could Koo be on his way out of Atlanta? You never know. And if Lenny Craig plays as well, if he does as well in practice and in minicamp and whatnot as he did when he was trying out and went 14 for 14 during workouts and tryouts, then you never know. I mean, we could go the younger route, the cheaper route, so to speak, and end up telling Koo goodbye. But there's also the opportunity to keep 2 kickers on the roster, and the reason why is because as the designated international player, Lenny Craig does not take up a spot on the 53-man roster. So you literally could bring him. You could literally have him on the roster with Koo activate both players for one game. And, if you needed to use both of them, one for, longer kicks or one for shorter kicks or however you want to do it. I mean, there's plenty of things that Marquise Williams could do with that. Also Raheem Morris as well. But again, that's where we stand with the kickers. I mean, they're going to let them compete for the job. Ku's going to have to earn his money, and Craig's going to have to earn his spot on this roster. So we'll see how it shakes out. I think they may end up going the route of keeping both kickers. That's just what it feels like right now. I don't see them walking away from Young Wei Koo just because he, finished last year on injured reserve, quite possibly because he was kicking injured in the first place. Do you want to see the Falcons on Hard Knocks again? Remember they were on there back in, I think it was 2014, they were on there. The one thing I'll always remember from Hard Knocks, that when the Falcons were on there, I'll always remember special teams coach Keith Armstrong. I won't say exactly what he said. This is a family show. Keith Armstrong told one of the players during meetings when they were during film review, "You're not good enough to be a blank, a butthole." Meaning, you can't just be out there freestyling, not following the game plan or what have you. I don't remember a whole lot more outside of that. I mean, I did watch Hard Knocks, but again, it was 10 years ago. And, 2014 was a pretty hard season. It was right towards the end of the Mike Smith era and right before we brought in Dan Quinn. So, but do you want to see the Falcons on Hard Knocks again? I don't know. I mean, maybe in a cameo role, like if we had a joint practice with the team. I mean, it would be interesting to have all that access to the Falcons to be able to see what's going on at Flowery Branch through the eyes and lenses of NFL films. But I think they declined it in the past, and I want to say it was during the Arthur Smith tenure because they were worried about things getting out there that they wanted to keep in house. Arthur Smith he liked to keep things pretty close to the vest. As witty as he was, as funny as he could be during press conferences, he definitely had a little Belichick in him, I would say, when it came to that. And he definitely had his boundaries when it came to things that he was willing to talk about. He was very introspective. Don't get me wrong, but some things there's some questions I'm just like, well, you can't talk about that, really? But whatevs. Good luck to Coach Art up there in Pittsburgh. I thought Arthur Smith got a raw deal too. That's just me. Anyway, I just want to see them in a cameo role. I don't know about the full-on show again. It is hard to watch those players get released and stuff like that, but it is kind of cool to have a peek inside of their everyday life, so to speak. If they're hanging out with their family or going places in public or whatever it may be. But again, if they're going to be on there just in a cameo role, or maybe with during a joint practice, I'm cool with that too. I can ride with that. I can vibe with that. Now, speaking of things happening in the preseason, that's where Hard Knocks happens. It kind of starts there, and then it builds up into the regular season. But speaking of preseason, one thing I'm curious to see is quarterback play in the preseason. I'm curious to see who we tried out there. If you remember, Raheem Morris really didn't play any of his starters during the preseason whatsoever in 2024. So if that trend continues in 2025, don't expect to see Michael Penix out there. I wouldn't mind at least seeing him just turn around and hand the ball off, or something. He doesn't really have to play, but I don't know. I think you could play your starters in the preseason, but you do have to tread lightly, one or two series. That should be about it. I understand, if you're trying to break in several new players, but I think, honestly, this preseason, it might be important for Penix to at least get out there a little bit with Gonzalez. Should Ryan Newsel not be coming back, and even at the same time, even if Ryan Newsel does come back, I still think it's a good idea for those two to get together, because if you remember correctly, I believe only Ryan Newsel and Mike Penix were on the field together for literally just 9 snaps. So that's not enough to just build rapport. I don't know if you can build the kind of chemistry you need to during practice. I mean, it is practice after all, but I do also believe in learning live on the job as well. So, we'll see when it comes to that. But the question I pose to you guys is: do you think Kirk Cousins is going to play in the preseason, being that he is now the backup quarterback? He is no longer QB1. I don't know. I mean, you may see a whole lot of Easton Stick and Emory Jones, but I think at this point, because you have four quarterbacks on the roster, I could see them starting Kirk Cousins in the preseason. At this point, you're almost going to have to play him. Unless you're going to spread the wealth and put Penix out there and then put Kirk and then follow him up with Easton Stick and then Emory Jones. I think that would probably be the pecking order in which you would play these games. So will Kirk play in the preseason? I think he will. I think he's gonna. At least if not for maybe a series or two before they just let Easton Stick take over and Emory Jones and let those guys battle it out for QB3. I think that's what's gonna happen. But again, if it was my team, if I was Raheem Morris, I put Penix out there for 1 to 2 series. I put Kirk Cousins out there for the remainder of the quarter, and then I let Easton Stick finish out till halftime, maybe third, then give Emory Jones the fourth quarter, regardless of what the score is. Again, because preseason, it's nothing but a big dress rehearsal. It's American Idol. That's kind of what I'll look at the preseason. So, and I mean, Kirk is going to be in Atlanta regardless. And again, right now, I think if he looks good in the preseason, that could really be the carrot that the Falcons can dangle over the head of another team and see if they want to receive, have a trade with the Falcons down the line, because again, Kirk should be fully healthy now, and if he looks good in the preseason, even if it's a couple series here and there, just a few snaps here and there, I mean, folks have enough film on Kirk Cousins to know what he could do. So, does he really have to go out there in the preseason this year and rip it and run it? I doubt it, but I think it'd be imperative for him to go out there at least and play a little bit. So we'll see how Raheem Morris wants to handle that. But yeah, I think Kirko needs to get out there. Can Jeff Ulbrich fix the pass rush? We've been waiting for the Falcons to generate some kind of pressure on the quarterback. Feels like for 100 years. I mean, really, it's been since 2016, 2017. 2017, the Falcons did have a top 10 defense in terms of yards allowed. But again, it felt like they just could not get to the quarterback as often as they needed to. Jeff Ulbrich takes it pretty seriously when it comes to fixing the pass rush. Now, Jeff Ulbrich, what he said when he was talking to the media, you can't thrive in this league from a defensive perspective without a good pass rush. Affecting the quarterback is my top priority. That came from the mouth of Jeff Ulbrich, our new defensive coordinator. Can he fix the pass rush? I mean, historically, I would say I would lean towards yes. I mean, when he was with the Jets, their defense was top 10, top 11, around that range, 10 to 15. I mean, they were definitely upper part of the league every time, when Jeff Ulbrich was in the house. And then again, they talked to defensive line coach Nate Ollie, who's really been the guy who's going to be entrusted with coaching up the defensive line, the edge rushers. And, he had that quote about wanting to throw haymakers and, having like a Mike Tyson mentality. And, Nate Ollie, I mean, he does have a track record of getting the best out of his defensive fronts. He was with the Colts, he was with the Texans. And the last 3 years in the AFC South, each team that he was with was top 10 in sacks. So he gets production. He knows how to find the production. And if your team is finishing top 10 in sacks, again, with the Falcons having the players on offense they have with the young quarterback, the way their quarterback room is structured, the wide receivers, the running backs, I mean, their offense in and of itself, when you have that, then you've got pieces on defense as well. Again, Jesse Bates comes to mind first. You just drafted 2 pass rushers. You've also got Caden Ellis, who's a solid linebacker. playing in the middle for you. When you've got all these pieces, and plus also AJ Terrell, a number one corner on just about any team in this league. When you've got all those pieces, if you can again put the pass rush out there and get the pass rush cranked up, get those guys, get the most out of, guys like Brandon Dorlus or Rook or Zach Harrison, guys at the, kind of at the bottom of the depth chart, then you've really got something. You know what I'm saying? Again, I said yesterday, 45 to 50 sacks is kind of where the Falcons need to be, if they want to have the success that they want to have. They need to really be around that number. So if they can get to 45 to 50, I think, again, long as everything else stays relatively the same on offense as it was last year, just in terms of your numbers, not all the results, but your numbers and your points. If you can score a little bit more, again, I think the Falcons need to be somewhere around 25 points a game. Again, they need to have around 45 or 50 sacks, and Michael Penix is going to have to have that 3-to-1 touchdown ratio. But back to the defense again. The pass rush has got to get better. I mean, it cannot be the thing that cripples this team on third down. I mean, how many times, again, have we seen quarterbacks having felt like long enough time to go back there and order DoorDash before somebody can get home, and then they miss the quarterback and he runs for a first down anyway. It's third down is the one down where it's like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. We look awesome on first and second down. Sometimes third down comes and we just kind of forget. I mean, they're professionals and they know what they're doing, but I just, as a fan, it's like we'd sit there like, did we forget to play football or what? But this year could be different. We've got new coaches in the building, new voices, new techniques, new strategies, new attitude. So I'm excited. And we've also got some new blood. Again, 3 new, guys in the house. I mean, if you count Leonard Floyd, of course, the veteran. And then you got the 2 first-round picks coming off the edge. Love it. Can't wait to see it. And it's really right around the corner, guys. I mean, we're this close to the month of June. So preseason football is going to be here before you know it. I mean, we're only talking, I don't know, less than about 2.5 months. And we'll get to see what some of these guys look like. Hopefully they stay healthy throughout training camp. And we get to have the full squad preseason first game, and especially week 1 at home against the Bucs. Thank y'all for tuning in as usual. Follow me on social media, Craig G Sports. I got it wrong. Craig G Sports or something like that. There you go. Craig G Sports. Boom. Y'all follow me there. We're almost at 500 subscribers. Thank you once again for giving us a follow, and also give Fan Arch a follow as well. Fan Arch Co. And we'll keep you up to date on new stuff coming out. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. I'm CG. Until next time, holla.